Okay, so Joe Tegmeyer came up with a challenge for running FSD. He's running a 142. If I remember, I'm running 136, so I have an older version. But anyway, it's almost all the way to San Antonio. It's in New Braunfels, but it's not that far away really. So I'm just going to take a little trip down there and try it out and see what happens, and then we'll go from there. Onward, upward. I am from Central Texas, so the challenge was to anybody from Central Texas, so why not? There you go. Okay, I had not noticed that before, but it shows the brake lights on the cars in front of me. Okay, so this is cool. So normally on autopilot, I would kind of shift in the middle of those two lanes. I'm actually staying in the lane, which is really cool. Okie dokie, so supercharger stop at Kyle. It's loosely associated with Target. Anyway, whatever. So Joe's loop trip, 147 miles so far, 37 kilowatt hours used, and the average energy is 251 watt hours per mile. Now in the last segment, it's been essentially on I-35. 30 miles, 277 watt hours per mile. So that's the cost of going a little bit faster. All right, so I'm not quite home yet, but here we go. 200 miles on this trip, 50 kilowatt hours. I'm averaging 251 watt hours per mile. Since last charge, 53 miles for 250 watt hours per mile. And from where would this be from? Current trip. I stopped at 19 miles. That would be Target. Okay, I stopped at Target, and it's 238 watt hours per mile. This is the kind of efficiency I'm looking for out of my Model 3. And this is so driving on part of 1431. There was some. Let's say we were driving a little bit faster than normal, but whatever. There was cars that they're just going crazy. So they're all going, oh look, that's a Model 3 performance. Let me show I can go faster. So one guy was in a Mustang. One guy was in a Cadillac CTS. And once he got in front of me, then he was like, oh wait, oh, I can do 35 in the 40 zone. Oh, okay. I mean, he beast moded to get in front of me. And then once he got in front of me, and then it's like, well, I'm going 35, I'll show you. Okay, fine. You know what? If you go slow in front of me, you know what that means to me? I'm saving energy. Okay? Challenge one for me is enjoying my driving, enjoying a little bit faster than I should maybe. Challenge number 2, if I can't get challenge number 1, I'll take challenge number 2. Challenge number 2 is try to push it under 250 watt hours per mile. So, what do you gain out of it? Nothing. You gain nothing out of it. I mean, the one guy was in a Sprinter. Is that what you call it, Sprinter? Coming off the traffic light as we're turning left. I mean, he accelerates fairly hard, and then we come up to a light, and he goes, "Oh, wait!" And so I pull him behind him because he's going fast, right? Well, then he goes, "Oh, wait, oh." Everybody got shooken up when I went around the corner too hard. Or whatever his problem was, he all of a sudden was going, oh, well, I'm in a gas-powered vehicle, I'm burning gas, so I need to go slower. Whatever the excuse is, I don't really care. It's like, why try to prove how strong and manly you are if you can't afford it? On the other hand, look over here. Look, 238 watt hours per mile. Okay, I'm nowhere near 5 miles per kilowatt, but I'm doing pretty good. The rest of you guys, I mean, why bother? Anyway, sorry. I'm knocking these guys, whatever. So let's see, the Cadillac CTS, who had to prove that he had a supercharger and a V8 in his car. Mustang 5.0, who had to prove he had a V8 in his car. A Sprinter, whatever Sprinter is carrying, I don't know. But my feeling is, once he stepped on the accelerator and then saw his average miles per gallon suddenly drop, it's just like when I drove my Porsche. You see it all of a sudden drop. You go, oh, yeah, I'm not being conservative, right? And of course, one guy was driving some family van or something, and he's the one who started out the whole thing, where he was tailgating me. So in defensive driving, where they teach you when somebody's tailgating, you have to provide stopping distance for both you and the person behind you. Double the distance. Okay? So what I do, I drop 5 miles off my speed. I mean, if you want to tailgate me, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop 5 miles per hour off the speed I'm going. Is that a winning situation for you? I hope that you were already 10 minutes late, and by tailgating me for 20 miles, you then became 25 minutes late. Why? That's a winning situation. Okay, whatever. Don't tailgate. Right? I mean, this is from defensive driving. This is what they taught us in defensive driving. Anyway, peace and harmony, whatever. So I got to enjoy both parts of the equation, right? I mean, I got to enjoy some acceleration without killing my average watt hours per mile. And I also got to enjoy the challenge of, look at what I'm getting here. This is what I'm looking for from a Model 3. And it should actually get better if I could just, I had, those lead weights were embedded into my foot when I was born. But anyway, peace and harmony. It's all good. So where are we with so a lot of this trip was done with FSD. So a lot of the FSD time was like, oh, this is pretty good. I like this. Okay. The problems I have with FSD, my profile is already set to chill mode. Okay, it's not set to minimal lane changes, it's just set to chill. But for some reason, the car insists, okay, stop, let me stop right here. For a Tesla, try this equation. If the speed limit is 60 miles an hour, which means my car computed maximum speed is 61, because it's +1, because for some reason with your computers you can't make the actual indicated speed accurate, which is probably some governmental thing, but whatever. And I'm doing 61, so I'm doing 61 when the max speed is 61, so I'm cruising along at the speed I want to be going. I don't need to switch into the middle lane. I don't need it. Right? What for? Why are you forcing me into another lane? Holy cow. What's wrong with this guy? He's practically, well, okay, not practically, but he's kind of close. And I'm in this big old parking lot. I did have a pickup over here. I don't know. What is it? This space must be the place for pickups. Anyway, whatever. Where was I? So, what happened? Okay, one time there was a car. He may have been 20, 30 feet behind me on the lane in the middle, and I'm on the outside. The car turns on turn signal, is going to cut in front of this guy who's coming up to pass me. Why would you do that? Okay, one time there was a semi coming up. Now, the semi and I are pretty close to the same speed actually, but you can see he's gradually coming up to me. Car turns on turn signal, and all of a sudden it looks like he backed off. Why would I switch lanes in this case? There's plenty of room in front of me. I don't need to switch lanes. Okay, whatever. Peace and harmony. It's the one thing. If the Tesla had a setting to say, if I'm in the outside lane cruising at highway speed, I do not need to switch lanes, I would pick that 100%. And if that's extra chill, so be it. I mean, I don't need to switch into the middle lane. Yes, you fast guys, I get it. But I'm going the speed limit. And if going the speed limit means I'm going 5 miles an hour at least slower than some of the faster guys. And the much faster guys are going 10 miles over the speed limit. It's nuts to move over to the left. It's dangerous, actually. Okay, whatever, peace and harmony. There was a couple of times when I was turning onto a road and there was a right turn exit almost immediately after I turned on the road, and the car wanted to take that exit. I don't know why. We're supposed to be going straight, but it's turn on turn signal and the steering wheel is turning that way. I have to grab the steering wheel and turn it back onto the lane I'm going on. And I don't know, the navigation shouldn't have been pulling that way, but it was. I don't know why. Okay, so there was that. The other thing was when you're in the outside lane, if there's a car coming up the merge and they're getting in front of you, you have to give them room to merge. Now, some of these guys, they're actually going slow, so you end up having to pass them. I get it. It's not right. It is, but it is what it is. Okay. So, I don't have the latest version of FSD. I think Joe said his version was 1.4.2 or 11.4.2, whatever it is. And whereas mine's 0.3.6. So I'm at least one version, if not two versions down. Now, I spent a lot of time on FSD today. What is my total trip? Well, it doesn't say. So I spent 200 miles. Out of that 200 miles, let's say 160 or so were on FSD. Oh, okay. So coming back around, the Joe loop. Okay. For Joe, the first time I went through, the first time I wasn't even thinking that's where I was going to go. When all of a sudden the car shifted to the right and went right. And I'm like, oh, this is it. Okay, so I found the spot. I found the exit that you're having a problem with. Now, I didn't have the cameras put up yet, so I looped back around, came back with the cameras on, and guess what? It didn't do it. So okay, maybe I just need to be further out. So I looped back around, set up, went through again. It stayed left. Now, either somebody figured out a fix and has applied it, or something happened where the car said, oh, that's not the way I'm going. I'm not sure which. I can tell you, so before I get this download, okay, I'm at version 11.3.6 FSD. Navigation data is NA-2022.28-14046. And I'm about to get NA-2022.44-14515. So as soon as I get home, that's going to download. Okay, if I'm on FSD, let's go advanced. I don't know if that'll make a difference. I may fall back out of FSD. Hopefully it sees FSD is enabled and only gives me the updates that include FSD. Okay, so anyway, there we are. Overall, I'm mostly happy with FSD. I will tell you, it actually feels pretty good most of the time. But the times when it scares me, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So it's not always perfect. Is it close? Yes. Should you drive without monitoring? No, you should be paying attention. Now, I don't know. Maybe I've seen some people where they're talking about how great it is. Maybe where they are, they're not doing anything risky. I would like to think I'm not doing anything risky, but the car, the FSD, is not programmed to drive the way I drive. Now, I used to drive school buses, and I was actually the trainer for our group, so I know what the safety rules are. Oh yes, did I mention the California stops? What's a California stop? You've already heard this, right? California stop is you see a stop sign, you may slow down a little bit, but you roll right through it. Now, maybe that's exaggerating a little bit, but that's the basics. You do not stop, and you're supposed to stop behind the solid white line if there's a solid white line. If there's not a solid white line, you're supposed to stop behind the imaginary line coming out from the stop sign. Okay? That's the rule. If a cop's sitting there and he's watching you and you don't do it, he can give you a ticket for it. Okay? I get it. I've already said enough about it. Okay? I just wish it was just different. Okay, whatever. With all that said, I'm actually pretty happy with the FSD. I mean, for beta, this is going pretty good. Anyway, peace and harmony. Onward, upward charge. Okay, final wrap up. From Ace Hardware, 7 miles away, 206 watt-hours per mile. So driving around town, we're going to beat 5 miles per kilowatt on a 30-mile power test. Anyway, overall, I'm still at 249 watt-hours per mile. Now, I did throw in a little acceleration, and man, this car has snap. I mean, I didn't do the appropriate timing. I cut off before I even got close, but if I set it up right, I'm certain I can do just over 3 seconds to 0 to 60. Man, that's fast. All right, good night, y'all.